Hello everyone and welcome to the video, and today we're going to be talking about the best full dexterity build in Elden Ring. So this does not utilize any type of blood buildup or anything. The only thing it uses is some lightning damage, and the reason for that is because if you guys are not aware, lightning actually scales with dexterity, and in order to make the best dexterity builds, you actually need lightning because it does more damage than just doing raw scaling on the dexterity. So with that being said, we're now going to get right into the stats and the gear of the build. So as you can see here, the gear of the build, we have two lightning grossmessers swords. It is important to note, however, that the bandit swords actually do a little bit more. However, I like the look of the grossmessers, and the damage is so marginal that it honestly just comes down to looks for me, and I really like the look of the grossmessers. I have the lightning slash ash of war on both of these to give it the lightning damage, and then we have the gravelstone seal for our offhand. As for the fashion of the build, we have the Okina mask. The reason we are using this is because it gives a nice little boost to dexterity. We then have the all-knowing armor, the scaled gauntlets, and the all-knowing greaves. This gives us a really nice look to our fashion. For the talismans, we have the Millicent's Prothesis, Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, Dragon Crest Great Shield, and the Erd Tree Favor +2. The last talisman is actually completely optional, and you could use the Green Turtle Talisman if you want a little bit more sustain, or literally anything. You can swap it out with whatever you want it to be. For me, I liked having that nice little boost to HP, stamina, and equipment load. For our Flask of Wondrous Physic, we have the Lightning Shrouding Crack tier and the Thorny Crack tier. We then have the Blood Boil Aromatic. For the stats of the build, we are level 150. We have 65 Vigor, 17 Mind, 40 Endurance, 19 Strength, 83 Dexterity, 19 Intelligence, 20 Faith, and 14 Arcane. It is important to note as well that my stats are currently boosted by my Great Rune, which gives me +5 to all my stats. So if you are wondering how you can't achieve these stats if you are level 150, that is how I am doing it. But with that being said, we are now going to talk about some of the pros and cons of this build, the weaknesses, and as well as how you're going to use this build. So for the most part, this build is very straightforward. As you can see, you basically just spam your L1 attack with the two swords out. As for the buffing process, it's pretty simple. All you really need to do is use your Flame Grant Me Strength or Blood Boil Aromatic, depending on which one you want to use. For this specific fight with Melania, I used the Flame Grant Me Strength just because she was doing too much to my health bar when I was using the Blood Boil Aromatic, so I opted to have a little bit more damage negation with the Flame Grant Me Strength. From there, all you have to do is just use your L2 attack on your primary grossmesser and you will get it lightning infused. And after that, all you really have to do is get as many successive attacks and chain attacks in a row. If you are able to chain together as many attacks as possible, the talismans that you are using as well as the Thorny Cracked tier in your Wondrous Physic will proc a lot, and you will be able to exponentially do more damage if you are able to continue landing the successive attacks. So as for the strengths of this build, it is able to do a large amount of DPS very quickly. The movement on this build is pretty incredible, as well as the moveset for curved swords in general is just better than most weapons in the game. I really liked using this build, and overall I had a lot of fun with it. However, there are a few downsides of this build and just dexterity builds in general. I feel as though whenever you're building straight dexterity and not really using any other things into it, like maybe a bleed buildup. Obviously, you guys are very familiar with the arcane dexterity builds. They're very popular, and they do tons of damage. With this build, it's pretty much just straight damage, and overall, the dexterity damage is not as crazy as you might think. As you can see here, a full combo on Melania does about 6,700, which is pretty solid, but the more you hit her, obviously I was able to scale up exponentially and eventually do even more than that. My second combo, I believe, was like 7,000 or 8,000, which is significantly more, and right here on the second half of the fight, when I popped the Blood Boil Aromatic and I hit her, the damage is even more. So as you can see there, it's 7,000 on the first one, and on the second one, it is without even finishing it, without the last attack, it was another 7,000 almost. So the damage, like I said, it just continues to ramp up. So the more successive attacks you can land, the more damage you are going to deal, and it does ramp up quite a lot. So like I said, the only really weakness to this build is that I felt like it wasn't as strong as other builds. However, you are able to put out some pretty solid DPS. But that's pretty much it for today's video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a sub to the channel as well as a like on the video if this build helped you out. But that's pretty much it for today's video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.